We will honour all legitimate claims, and our clean-up efforts will not come at any cost to taxpayers. To those affected and your families, I'm deeply sorry.
Well, that man's got his life back. Welcome back to Hardball. Remember that contrite BP in that TV ad there vowing to make things right? Well, now that BP is no longer on the TV 24/7 and that spewing in the Gulf has stopped, the country's singing a different tune. It's not quite as contrite. The New York Times reports that BP executives now warn that if Congress doesn't pass legislation that lets them begin deep water drilling again, they won't be able to pay the claims. Isn't that sweet? Here's what they're saying. If we're unable to keep those fields going, that is going to have a substantial impact on our cash flow. That makes it harder for us to fund things, fund these programs, meaning the programs to pay for the damages. Here's another quote from a BP spokesman. I am not going to make a direct linkage to the $20 billion, but our ability to fund these assets and the cash coming from these assets that are securing these funds would be lost. Bernard Charbonnet is a New Orleans attorney, represent people and businesses affected by the BP oil spill. He's also the former New Orleans Port Authority chairman. Mr. Charbonnet, we've counted on you as an expert for the human impact down there along the Gulf Coast. It's nice to have you on. I know you know the news. The suddenly uncontrite company, BP, is now saying if they don't get their licenses back, their permits back to go back into the deep water where they got into trouble, and lickety-split, they're not going to start paying off that money. They're going to have a problem. Now, what do you make of that complaint by them?
You know, Chris, who's surprised? That's the question. Who's surprised? This is the Darth Vader of the oil industry in the Gulf Coast. They are the fourth largest corporation, not in the United States, but in the world. Only 11% of their Gulf of their oil operations in the Gulf. They can pay for this thing out of their lunch money. Now, this is
well, they're using this is their ugly stick, if you will. Is this their way of saying if you don't let us do what we like to do, you're not getting your money?
Absolutely.
In other words, they're playing the stick, not the sugar here, if you will.
Exactly. But this is not voluntarism, Chris. They're going to pay. Either the Congress is going to make them pay, or ultimately the courts are going to make them pay. I think they're waving the wrong thing here. There's no sugar on this stick, and you're right, Chris.
Okay, let's talk about this whole thing of what happened down there. What do you make of this latest fire? You've been studying that, of course. It's been all news. Apparently, it has a good result. Nobody got killed. They put the fire out, etc. What's your sense of it?
Frankly, it was a fire. At first, I thought I'd have to eat crow with you, Chris, and rediscuss the issue of the moratorium. But that moratorium ends in November, as you know. It wasn't a big thing. I mean, it happens regularly, but at the end of the day, the Interior Department's got to get stricter. You know, these guys are not going to police themselves. They've got to come down here with some strict rules and regulations. You would think the industry would get together and say, look, let's get together and clean this up because we're only going to have more problems, but they're not. So we got to rely on big government to come in and do big things. It's just that simple.
What's your hunch as an attorney? Do you think people are going to get that money, $20 billion and up? Are they going to get it after all this fussing around and
I think
PR?
it's going to be. Yeah, I think they're going to pay some money in a voluntary, good spirit kind of way. But ultimately, BP doesn't want to spend any money. It's going to wind up in the Congress, and if the Congress doesn't do it, then the lawyers are going to get it. I mean, at some point, the litigation has been permanentized in New Orleans now. It's not going to be in Houston, and there's going to be so many claims and so much litigation. Ultimately, they're going to pay. The problem is that they're not paying quick enough for the little guy on the street, the 7,500 or so, oil rig workers, the poor fishermen who are out of business, can't buy an oyster in this town. I mean, this is a calamity of record proportion.
Well, I still look forward any time I can to get down and eat dinner at Emeralds and places like that.
I'm waiting on you, man. You deny me that pleasure.
I'll take you to dinner at Emeralds, the greatest place in the world. Thank you, sir.
Good to talk
for coming
to you, Chris.
on. It's good. It's always charming to be with you, sir. Thank you.
Good to be with you, Chris.
When we return,